Coming up on this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll explain how NCBA is educating Congress about the beef industry, plus see how John Deere equipment can help you put up higher quality hay.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Hi everybody and welcome to NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Russell Nemitz. You know, for years now, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association has maintained an office in Washington, D.C. in order to be the voice of beef producers on federal policy and to engage with decision makers in a timely and effective manner. NCBA staff also work to educate members of Congress about the beef industry and its importance to our economy. Joining us now to talk about these efforts is Allison Rivera, NCBA's Executive Director of Government Affairs. And Allison, you recently held a Beef 101 briefing for congressional staff. What is that, and why are briefings like this so important?
Well, thanks, Russell. These Beef 101s, we're so excited to have them back. It's a really great opportunity for NCBA DC staff to go to the Hill and talk about a number of issues. Basically, anything that is an issue that's a hot button issue that we need to get to the Hill to talk to congressional staffers about, to educate them. It gives us a great opportunity to bring in experts to talk about particular hot button issues. We have done these for a number of years at NCBA and are just so excited to be able to come back and to not only brief staffers that know our industry, but brief staffers that maybe don't know anything at all about our industry. And in a lot of cases, get down to the nitty gritty on subject matter so that they have all the information they need to inform their members of Congress and support our industry and our producers.
Now, what type of issues did you raise with these congressional staff?
So this first Beef 101 was on antimicrobial use, judicious use. We talked a little bit about our beef quality assurance program, and our congressional ask was surrounding the ADUFA reauthorization, or the Animal Drug User Fee reauthorization that is up for reauthorization by September 30th of 2023. This is something that we have to get done in order to be able to get those new animal drugs to market quickly, get them through FDA, CVM, and make them available to producers to use to better enhance their herd and their operations. So we really just wanted to talk through the judicious use of antibiotics in our industry. We had Dr. Mike Apley from Kansas State who came and talked through this issue, and then being able to pivot to why these new animal drugs, bringing them to market is so important and why we need a clean reauthorization of ADUFA. So we definitely left the congressional staff with an ask, with an item that we're pushing for from NCBA, and it was certainly a great meeting.
How do you communicate with staff who might be unfamiliar with the cattle industry or even agriculture as a whole?
Yeah, Russell, we actually started the meeting giving just a little bit of a brief on our industry, kind of walking everyone through gate to plate and the cycle of raising livestock. And so that really gives staffers the opportunity, again, those who maybe are brand new to agriculture or brand new to the cattle industry, gives them the opportunity to ask us questions and for us to be able to kind of talk through some of those specifics of our industry. It really is just a great opportunity to speak to them. And then after the meeting, of course, we have staffers that come up and really want to engage. And that part of the process is just so helpful because we gather their information, we meet them, we chat with them, and then we're able to really reach back out to them and form that relationship. Is going to be so important moving forward with so many other asks that we have in this year and beyond.
Of course, one way you can support this very important work being done by NCBA to help protect all of us in agriculture is to become a member. And if you act now, you'll receive a voucher for a free 1-liter bottle of Cydectin Poron from Elanco. Either call 866-233-3872 or visit the website ncba.org and use the code C2C. Each year, thousands of farmers gather for Commodity Classic, a very important annual event for the grain and commodity industry. Here's Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter with more from Orlando.
A record-setting crowd of more than 10,000 was on hand for the 2023 Commodity Classic, which is billed as America's largest farmer-led, farmer-focused, agricultural and educational experience.
That is a number that was almost unthinkable not that long ago, and I think that that's a testament to just the value of a show like Commodity Classic. People come here to learn new things that they can put to work on their farm today.
We've had tremendous crowds in attendance, so that is just outstanding, and just it shows you, I think, a lot of the people that used to come to Commodity Classic are coming back again.
Established in 1996, this event is presented each year by the nation's leading commodity groups, including the National Corn Growers Association. One of the highlights is the Corn Congress, where delegates participate in policy discussions and help shape NCGA's priorities for the coming year. Commodity Classic also offers educational sessions, an impressive lineup of speakers, and a huge trade show.
One of the other greatest things about Commodity Classic is the trade show. A lot of farmers get a chance to meet there every year, and that's where they get a chance to talk about how things went on their farms the year before, or you get a chance just to walk up and down the aisles to see all the vendors of all the new technology and the new things there for agriculture farmers and corn farmers to see.
All the biggest brands in all of agriculture have set up shop in our trade show and are interacting with some of the best growers in the land, as we speak right now.
Commodity Classic is a winning formula. It is a combination of top producers, top leaders, and a lot of growers that want to come and network.
The NCGA booth always draws a crowd as leaders get a chance to talk one-on-one with corn growers about their top concerns for the year.
The NCGA booth is a connection point for staff and growers. The intent is to make it feel like they're home away from home on the trade show floor.
So this year, our booth is themed around our National Corn Yield Contest, and that is NCGA's largest member engagement program throughout the year. We have about 6,300 entries, and so this year we really wanted our booth to focus on honoring our winners in the contest. Our biggest goal when we put together our booth each year is we want our members, when they leave our booth, to be proud to be an NCGA member. And we hope that both our winners and our general members, when they're here this week, when they walk in this space, that they're proud to be a corn grower, that they're proud to be a part of our organization.
One of the important topics discussed during the week is the valuable relationship between corn and beef. The beef cattle industry consumes more than 1.2 billion bushels of corn a year, which provides $5.7 billion in value to corn growers.
We feed a lot of cattle in the corn industry, and that is such an incredibly important customer segment. Our growers also raise cattle, and so it's just a natural partnership that we are quite proud of at NCGA, and we're always looking for ways to do more with that customer segment.
Attendees agree the Commodity Classic is about more than seeing the latest in machinery and technology. It's a chance to build lifelong connections with other farmers from across the nation.
The value of a Commodity Classic to me as a corn farmer is getting to network with everybody. It's a lot of fun to meet the new people and people that you don't normally run into out in the field. Everybody comes together and you see all the new products and all the new everything, and you meet new people, and you always gain a couple friends from the show, so it's a lot of fun.
About a third of our membership comes each year, and we are just a unique opportunity to meet different people that we wouldn't see at some of our other events. We had a big networking reception last night, and everyone was talking about how fun it was to get to see folks from all over the country in one place here in Orlando for Commodity Classic.
The growers want to come because they want to learn. This is more than just a tire kicker audience. These are folks that really want to learn more about their business and ways to grow it.
Reporting from Commodity Classic in Orlando, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
The National Corn Growers Association represents nearly 40,000 dues-paying corn farmers nationwide and the interests of more than 300,000 growers who contribute through corn checkoff programs in their states. To learn more, just visit ncga.com. Still ahead here on Cattleman to Cattleman, we've got details on a program from the Natural Resources Conservation Service that can help you fight back against woody plant encroachment. So stay with us.
That certain time in the day when you can take a deep breath, knowing your work is done. That's the feeling Aspen products can create. Cost-effective alternatives to name brands that deliver the same results. Qualaxin is one of them. Use it to prevent and treat respiratory disease in your herd. Then breathe easy. Find them at Animal Health International.
This beef quality assurance tip is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Hi, I'm Libby Bigler, and I'm here to give you a beef quality assurance tip on record keeping. Record keeping is a core component to beef quality assurance and is nearly impossible without accurate individual animal identification. Individual animal ID helps support tracking of an individual's performance records, but in the case of a disease outbreak, it also helps you track, identify, and potentially isolate any animals that have been exposed. Appropriate types of individual animal identification include ear tagging, tattooing, and RFIDs. For more information about types of identification that are approved under the BQA program and for why it's important, visit bqa.org.
The Beef Quality Assurance Program is funded by the Beef Checkoff.
Every day, farmers and ranchers deal with challenges that can have a negative impact on their grass, including encroachment by unwanted trees. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brad Bulla has a look at how woody encroachment causes problems for cattle producers and some of the steps they can take to fight back.
The Great Plains region of the U.S. is home to some of the last continuous grasslands on Earth. It covers all or part of 10 states and provides valuable grazing for cattle as well as habitat for wildlife.
Great Plains reach from Canada all the way down into Mexico, and they're a really important flyaway for many different migratory birds. It's not only the flyaway, it's nesting grounds. The grasslands are also important to the cattleman who wants to raise his calf crop on these grasslands because of the forage they provide.
Unfortunately, fast-growing, drought-tolerant trees are taking over this valuable landscape. Although millions of new saplings sprouting each year might seem like a good thing, in reality, their spread is upending this ecosystem. It's a big problem, especially in South Dakota, where cattle producers are losing grazing land to woody encroachment.
It's important to control woody encroachment in the Great Plains because as the woody species encroach on our grasslands, it displaces forage, which is really important for our cattle producers across the state of South Dakota and across the Great Plains as well.
This area, the south central part of the state along the Missouri River on both sides, this 4-county area is really ground zero of how bad the woody encroachment can get. Everybody just realized that there is a big problem here. They're losing rangeland, losing grazing to these cedar trees.
With the cedars, there's no biodiversity. There's no understory, there's no grasses, there's no insect life. So for even just for hunting specifically alone, we lose our mule deer habitat, we lose our sharp-tail habitat, even the turkeys don't go in them. So once a cedar area is fully canopied, it's biologically sterile. So we lose production of grasses, any forbs. It's basically a desert in our place.
There's nothing prettier than seeing grass, beautiful grass, without weeds, without all the trees. And I don't know what the percentage of trees are here, but it's huge on this ranch. I could run a lot more cattle on here if the trees were taken care of.
The traditional methods for clearing rangelands of these invasive species have relied on heavy mechanical equipment, such as bulldozers or large tree shears. But these methods have proven both cost-prohibitive and ineffective. That's why many in agriculture have turned to prescribed fire as a way to address the growing challenge of unwanted trees. As many cattle producers know, fire can be a powerful tool to help control invasive species and improve forage resources.
The reality of it is that there's just so crazy many cedar trees that you have to have more than one means to get control of them. And fire is one thing that you can come in with periodically, 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road, and really have a significant impact on the regrowth of trees.
I was mechanically cutting them and piling them, and the little ones come everywhere, millions of them. In 3 years, they were this tall and they were everywhere. And I could not imagine how to get rid of those other than fire, because eventually they're just going to keep growing. And then I got to go cut them again. Well, it's just repeating. In my experience, fire killed the seeds and the little ones in a lot of places. So I think fire is a huge tool.
The only way for me to control woody encroachment or cedars is by fire. Selectively cutting where I can to produce the heat to control these woody species. Upslope fires, using the wind, using the terrain in my advantage, but fire is the main tool I'm using to control them.
One important ally is the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service and its Working Lands for Wildlife initiative. This framework offers farmers and ranchers valuable advice on the voluntary programs they can utilize to help protect and improve the resources in their care.
We have a couple different Farm Bill programs that can offer cost share assistance with the deferment and the brush management activities, and even the prescribed burn as well. We also have technical assistance available where we can help provide some assistance with writing a prescribed burn plan, as well as developing conservation plans so a producer knows, like, okay, we can do the brush management this year and then we should follow it up with a burn.
The experts agree. Now is the time to begin fighting back against these invasive trees, rather than waiting to react after they have overtaken an area.
This part of the state is actually a pretty good example for other areas of South Dakota that haven't been hit as hard as they have been here. We're like, well, come down to Gregory County along the river and this might be what you'd be dealing with in 30 years if you don't start taking action now.
If you're waiting till it gets bad, the value of your land is going down, the cost to clear it is going up each year, and it's just a no-win situation. If you really want to do something with that land other than just have a cedar forest, you just got to make a choice and do it.
Livestock producers across the Great Plains are working hand in hand with agencies like NRCS to find solutions to the woody encroachment problem. The efforts of these hardworking families will ensure their lands are around for future generations.
What can I leave for my family? I've got 4 kids. I would like to give them the option to do something with that land, but make it worth something rather than just a cedar-infested few acres that really wasn't worth much at all.
I just always have wanted to make what I have, what I was able and blessed to be able to either purchase or rent, better than the way I found it. I just want to pass it on to my family and work to make it better for them.
We have all these parts working together, from landowners to the operators to our partners. We all have the same goals in mind, having a place that we can sustain, enjoy, and make it as fertile and as rich as we can.
Reporting from South Dakota, I'm Brad Bola for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about assistance available through Working Lands for Wildlife, please contact your local USDA Service Center or visit the website nrcs.usda.gov. Still ahead on Cattlemen to Cattlemen, we'll head to Oklahoma to see how John Deere equipment is helping one operation put up higher quality hay bales. That story when we return.
Cattle producers across the country work hard to care for their animals and their land. The USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is there to help. Find out how you can work with NRCS to develop a conservation plan for your operation. Find possible funding resources for implementing conservation practices, or get free expert advice on ways to improve your farm or ranch. Visit the website nrcs.usda.gov today.
The challenges producers face in raising crops, hay, and cattle are as varied as the number of farms and ranches you'll find across this great country of ours. Too much rain, too little, and access to land can certainly all take a bite out of your opportunity to put up the hay you need. Brian Baxter visited Oklahoma to get some insights, though, on the challenges facing one young producer.
Will Osborne and his family have been raising crops and cattle in central Oklahoma for several generations.
My family has been farming and ranching here for a long time. My great-grandfather started here about 5 miles from here on a quarter about 80 years ago, and then my grandfather grew it from there, and now I just continue on the tradition. Our biggest business is cattle, beef cattle. Grow the commercial herd and continue to grow them till they're yearlings out on wheat pasture. And then we farm wheat, alfalfa, Bermuda grass, and cotton and soybeans as well.
The Osborne operation is not far west of Oklahoma City, which means there's competition for land and lots of close neighbors alongside nearly all of their pastures.
The unique challenges to this area would include, we are very, what some people would call urban farmers and ranchers. We are very close to the city. Just whenever our ancestors decided to settle down, they decided to settle down 20 minutes from what is Oklahoma City now. So we have a lot of traffic, we have a lot of, if our cows get out, they're in a housing addition, they're not in the neighbor's field. So those are things that we have to deal with personally here.
Will's cattle see plenty of weather when little grass is available through the fall and winter seasons, so putting up quality hay is essential every year for the Osborne family operation.
Our hay equipment we keep in better condition than probably anything else that we have, because hay is a unique crop in the way that if you don't get it up when you need to, the value decreases so much so quick. You can take something that was excellent quality and then it's average quality a day later and not very good 3 days later. So we try to keep good, new, modern equipment, just less breakdowns, and try to work with people that try to help us in that.
We've worked with Will Osborne for a long time. We started out with his grandfather and his dad and Will. I mean, the Osborne family has done business at this dealership for as long as I can remember. We live in the same community. We went to the same high school. Those guys do things the right way. They're big operators and they do it right. I mean, when it's the time to cut, they're cutting. When it's time to bale, they're baling. Great producer and cow-calf operator.
The Osbornes, like many others in Oklahoma farm country, rely on John Deere machinery to get the job done when it comes to cutting and baling their hay crops. And the family has continued to adopt new equipment and options that help them get consistent quality in their hay bales.
This swather that's behind me, we just picked it up. It's a swather that we are cutting hay. It's W235M, which has been good. And then we are running John Deere round balers. We round bale for our stuff almost exclusively. 460 and 560M John Deere balers.
Particularly the round baler has been a tried and true product for many, many years. It's got a great pickup mechanism. You can bale windrows nearly as big as you can make them without plugging a baler. We've added tire options today. The net wrap is a key piece. It's easy to load net wrap on our balers, and again, all of our customers run net wrap today.
Going to net wrap has been one of the best changes that has happened to modern agriculture in forever. For us, it has been huge. It just enables the hay to stay so good for a long time. Also, it makes it much easier to contain the hay. Stuff doesn't get into it as much. If you have a really wet season, the bottom of the bale is in better condition, It's much easier whenever you feed the hay. We cut off all the net wrap before we feed any hay. It's a great system.
Will says he values the reliability of the John Deere hay equipment he uses, but he knows if there ever is an issue, help is just a phone call away.
What Will expects is when he calls, I answer, and us to have the answers for him, and then have the parts he needs. Maybe we can't get there to fix it at that second, but I can tell him what he needs to do to fix it.
Customers, when they need to go, they need to go. And you know, if it's again in the hay world, whether it's hay, whether it's cutting wheat, corn, soybeans, whatever it is, when the time to go is now, it's time to go. And so we want to be there for our customers. We're on call 24/7 when it's the busy time of the year. And you know, many times these hay customers, especially, may be bailing at night because of moisture. You know, we want to be there if they need something.
John Deere is the choice for us in our hay equipment because they're the most accessible. Their local service here is just outstanding. They have all the parts that we need if something does go wrong. If we can't fix it, they will come help us. Also, huge benefit with the John Deere products, and it's a big part of the reason we use John Deere so much, is the resale and things for trade-in is substantially better than a lot of the competitors that we have dealt with.
Raising cattle is Will's favorite part of carrying on the family tradition in agriculture, a tradition that includes John Deere machinery. And most important of all, a commitment to building an opportunity for the next generation.
The best part about raising cattle in Oklahoma here is probably the way of life. Watch your kids grow up in it, the family aspect of that. It's a good feeling.
Reporting from Oklahoma, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
If you'd like to learn more about how equipment from John Deere can bring value to your farm or ranch, just visit your local dealership or check out the website johndeere.com. Still ahead here on Cattleman to Cattleman, we've got a look at some exciting technology that can provide pasture weed control and fertilization all in one easy step. All the details when we return.
It is inevitable, like the rising and setting of the sun. Your gravel driveway will need maintenance. Drudgery? Never. Be the right person with the right tools doing the job the right way by watching How to Maintain a Gravel Drive Using a Box Blade with Hydraulic Scarifiers. Brought to you by tipsnotebook.com. When better how-to videos are made, we will make them.
Cattle producers know the value of grazed forages, and improving pasture production means better feed for your cattle and more profit potential for your operation. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck takes us to Arkansas for a look now at a very exciting technology that can help you put up more grass in your fields and more money in your pocket.
Growing more grass gives cattle producers their lowest cost opportunity to put more pounds on their cattle. That, however, is often easier said than done.
Producers need to pay attention to the weeds in the pastures because they are crowding out competing good forages. Every bite of grass that cow takes or that stock or calf takes, you want it to be something that's going to be nutritious and is going to lead to putting pounds of beef on that animal's skeleton.
Weed control is a big deal. You know, when it gets hot and dry in the summertime, if that grass is having to compete with a lot of weeds, you're losing all that. That's our number one fight is weeds.
For every pound of weeds you have in your pasture, that's going to remove 1 to 1.5 pounds of grass. And many of these weeds are not palatable to cattle, and some of them are even robbing your yields because they will cause grazing avoidance. They have stickers and they're a pain for cattle, so cattle will tend to avoid them. If you have weeds, you don't have as much forage for your cattle production. Either you're going to have to reduce your carrying capacity, so you'll have to sell off cattle earlier than you wanted to, or you'll have to purchase feed and hay, and forage grown in your pastures is often the lowest cost forage you have. So if you have poor forage, you have to buy more hay. That's more expensive for your bottom line.
Fertilizing pastures is a tool many producers use to boost forage growth, but fertilizer alone does not address the issues of weed control.
Most of our producers fertilize their hay fields religiously, and then pastures can, are as needed. If they're stocking more cattle, they'll fertilize their pastures, and that just helps them grow more grass and raise more cattle. On pastures, if they put fertilizer on their pastures or hay fields and no weed control, they're growing pounds of weeds also. And so with some weed controls, it makes a big difference on their production.
Most of the producers in my area that are truly trying to realize a net profit are very interested in all the aspects of pasture management, and they're always looking for new ways to do things.
New Ultigraze pasture weed and feed from Corteva Agriscience allows farmers and ranchers to address both pasture fertility and weed control at the same time, and at the right time.
Ultigraze is our new service offering whereby certified Ultigraze pasture weed and feed retailers can deliver both your fertility needs and your weed control in one pass. Historically, what we've needed to do is to go over your pasture with a fertilizer application and then come back with a second separate application to spray for your weeds. This is a process whereby we can combine the two, saving you the cost of a second application and delivering not only fertility but weed control at the same time.
The advantage of that for our farmers are window of application. Sometimes there's only 2 hours a week that's fit to go out and spray because the wind's blowing, chance of rain's coming, something like that. The benefit on putting it in the fertilizer is the window of application is a lot broader. It gives them more chance to get out and get the product applied in a timely fashion.
You get your fertilizer put on, you get some nutrients added to your soil, and you're getting weed control that they never could get before. And they're getting it early enough to do a good job. They're not waiting till the weeds are mature, and then sometimes we'd have failures with herbicides, and lots of times it was due because they were spraying too late. Now they're getting timely applications of herbicide and getting fertilizer on both at the proper timing, and it's been just a win-win for using both of those technologies.
For Brandon Olson and his customers, seeing pasture health is only one benefit of Ultigraze. Not only does the one-pass application process save time, but since cattle don't have to be moved off pastures before or after treatment, it also saves in labor.
The results we've seen have been very, very good, better than we had assumed, because most of this research has been 85 to 90% control compared to spraying. We're seeing 100% control of spraying just because they're getting out there earlier when the weeds are smaller. All our customers have been very happy with the results that they've received. We believe that the impregnated fertilizer is as accurate as spraying, if not more accurate, just because of the evenness you get, and it doesn't matter if the wind's blowing 10, 12 mile an hour. You can get right up next to the fence and know that that's where it stops. So that's a good benefit.
I had 60 acres that I used it on in the spring. I think we got it on at the last of March, maybe 1st of April, which this year I intend on using it and getting out there a little quicker. We was having a bit of a thistle issue. We was having some ragweed issue. And so we used it, and on that 60 acres this year, I don't think I had 3 thistles on the whole deal. There was no ragweed whatsoever. My grass was, thicker, better, a lot healthier. Once we got the weeds out of the way, the grass kind of come along and blanketed and covered the ground. And I feel like my cattle done better. They stayed healthier, looked better. It just lets you keep your grass in better shape to withstand a drought, the adverse effect of the weather might put on it.
If you talk about a healthy stand of grass being a very good mechanism to suppress weeds, then you ask, okay, what goes into keeping and maintaining a healthy stand of grass? So obviously it all begins with a soil test to know what the fertility needs are. When we talk about establishing a healthy pasture, it's fertility, it's weed control. When we talk about maintaining a healthy pasture, that's when we start getting into rotational grazing, not overgrazing, and making sure that that pasture goes into the fall a healthy, vigorous stand of grass.
Ultigraze pasture weed and feed is exciting technology to help pastures thrive. It is available through a network of certified applicators in 22 states.
As a producer, if you're dealing with a certified Ultigraze weed and feed retailer, what you know is that retailer has gone through extensive education and training so that they know how to do the blending of the herbicide onto the fertilizer. They're using dedicated equipment, and they have the highest standards of product stewardship. So you know you're going to be getting the fertility needs you are desiring, and you're going to be getting the appropriate herbicide for your individual pasture needs. If you happen to have your own application equipment, whether it's a truck or a buggy, and it's dedicated to pasture, then you will be able to go to your Ultigraze retailer, get your blended impregnated fertilizer, and you'll be able to deliver it on and to apply it to your own pastures.
We're here to help our producers, make them be more productive. They have a few more cows, that means they have a little bit more money to spend and more pickups to drive, and it helps the economy all the way around.
Reporting from Harrison, Arkansas, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Want to learn more about the benefits of using a product in your pastures that combines a herbicide with a fertilizer? Well, just visit the website ultigraze.com/C2C. Still to come, we've got a look at a great and new technology that can help you measure and sort cattle. That story when we return.
Weeds will rob me of my investments. The weeds are not palatable to cows. They will not eat them, or if they do eat them, some of them may be toxic. So there's a return on investment by allowing there to be more grass available to be grazed by the cattle.
For more than 3 decades, the Environmental Stewardship Award Program, also known as ESAP, has recognized the nation's best operations for their outstanding stewardship practices and conservation achievements. Here to tell us more about the program is Gary Price, chair of the ESAP Selection Committee. Gary, why is it so important to tell the story of what farmers or ranchers are doing on the land through the ESAP program?
Yeah, Kate, it's very important to be able to bring all of those regional winners and tell their story. We've got great stories to tell all across the country. And not only is it important for the consumer to hear those stories about how they're taking care of the cattle and the land, but it's also important, I think, for other producers to see that and incentivize them to do better conservation work and to get ideas of how they can improve their operations as well. So very important for both segments.
Gary, can you tell us a little bit about who is on the selection committee and the work that goes into picking these great winners?
Yeah, we've got a wide variety of people on that selection committee. We've got regional vice presidents with NCBA. We've got people from Texas A&M. We've got our sponsors are represented as well with McDonald's, Corteva, with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, with NRCS. So a wide variety of folks on that selection committee.
And I'm guessing there's some tough work that goes into picking the winners from all these great operations that are selected and put forward for nominations.
Absolutely. Sometimes you think you're in a court of law there because there's so many decisions to be made, and we usually spend about a day and a half doing that, and we'll have a tour on a ranch somewhere when we're doing that. But you bet, good friends that are on there, and we have studied that a couple of 3 weeks before. We've studied all of those ranches and with a booklet that's put out. So we come there with a lot of ideas and a lot of questions. But once those questions have been answered and we go around the room many, many times, then we come up with what we think is really the best. And sometimes they're very, very, very close, of course. But we come with what we think is the cream of the crop that we want to represent us.
Maybe no fisticuffs thrown, I hope, sometimes during that meeting, but I'm sure it's tough. You all do a great job. And we have a really special opportunity this year to announce the winner, the national winner of the Environmental Stewardship Award Program during NCBA's legislative conference in Washington, D.C. Why is this opportunity so unique and so important?
Yeah, that's going to be a really unique opportunity. We're going to actually be there all week, and our selection committee will be there as well. And we'll end with a tour of a ranch previous regional winner, and then we'll have the selection committee meeting to pick the new regional winners. But very important that we're meeting with those legislators. It gives us an opportunity to really tell those stories firsthand and be able to tell exactly what those folks are doing and be able to answer their questions and concerns about cattle production and what we're doing on the land. You know, the land is being looked at more than ever, and with consumers, and we've got a great story to tell, and to be able to be there with those legislators is very, very important.
Yeah, it'll be really fun to do that this year. You mentioned earlier the value of the award program to other farmers and ranchers who are already probably implementing great production practices and conservation practices on their own operations. Tell us about how those award winners can serve as an inspiration to other producers and maybe even others in their communities in terms of what they're doing in terms of conservation.
Yeah, I think the exposure to other producers all around the country, again, when you see good work that's being done, it really incentivizes you to up your game and to do better with the land and with how we take care of cattle. We know we've got a lot of BQA folks that have gotten on board just simply by saying, what is BQA? We need to be doing that. So yes, I think it's raised the bar for all of us and a very important part of that whole program.
Yeah, very good to do. As a past national winner, what has that award meant to you and your family?
Well, it's really opened so many doors for us. We've made so many friends all around the country, previous winners, visiting their ranches, they're visiting ours, you know, with various tours. But just the ability to be able to tell the story again. We have an open gate policy here on the ranch. We want to tell our story. We want to be very transparent with what we're doing and how we're producing cattle. And it's just opened so many doors for us. And I can't tell you how many great friends we've got all over the country and most every state, and visited their operations from time to time. It's been outstanding.
That's great. Gary, thank you for the work you do in guiding the committee and your leadership in the area of sustainability and conservation. We really appreciate all you do. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I consider it really an honor to be a part of it.
Now, if you want to re-watch the stories of these regional winners, then visit the Environmental Stewardship Awards page on YouTube. Not only can you see this year's winners, but you can check out winners from past years as well. And while you're there, you can also go to the Cattleman to Cattleman page to catch up on anything you've missed on our show, including educational segments and producer profiles from around the country. So check out both the Environmental Stewardship Awards page and the Cattleman to Cattleman page on YouTube.
Taking information, turning it into data, and taking that data and turning it into decisions, that's critical for profitability in the beef industry. And with me to talk more about a technology that does just that is Michael Janot with Elanco Animal Health. Michael, tell us a little bit about your technology.
Yeah, thank you for having me here today, and I'm happy to do that. We have a new technology called Pinpoint Sort, and it is a technology made to fit into any cattle feeding operation that helps get cattle into more uniform feeding groups, reduce variation in end weights, cut down on yield grade 4s and 5s and heavyweights, and help optimize feeding margin using this new technology.
Now, you'd agree that we've been sorting cattle based on weight for a long time, but is this idea around sorting them based on their composition somewhat new?
It is, and that technology's been here for a while. We got into this through an acquisition about a little over a year ago, but we've innovated and improved it. But on to that question of weight sorting has been around for some time. And it's definitely a value-added practice in a feed yard. The issue becomes when you don't take into account the variation in frame coupled with weight. So frame alone can explain quite a bit of variation in end weights, which results in heavy carcasses and missed feeding margin.
So what do you see as some of the primary benefits of implementing this technology?
We see a lot of benefits mainly on the bottom line. So on average, just to get to the bottom line of it, is about a $20 per head average, on average, depending on how you market those cattle, that you can expect to see as a return. For a low single digit investment, it's a pretty good ROI. But we also see all the benefits of lower labor, lower handling with this new technology. It's hands-free, it's computer vision, really easy to handle chute side, and flows at the speed of processing, not slowing down the operation. So a lot of new benefits to the new version we've rolled out.
This is really just one example of a bigger commitment you have to the beef industry at large, and particularly feed yards. Tell us more about that.
That's really right. This is just a part of our journey, if you will, our strategy to bring value using data and using knowledgeable decision making. You know, this is our endpoint solution. It's one of the areas we're committed to help the industry better manage cattle to the optimum profit optimizing endpoint. We're also working in sustainability currently and working in feed optimization, working in early disease detection. And all those revolve around our kind of capabilities with data and analytics through Elanco Knowledge Solutions. So.
That's powerful stuff. I don't know if you can give us any insight, but I'm curious, what can we expect down the road with this technology and others?
This technology, as we're launching it, we're just excited to get the new vision technology out there and get the manual way of measuring cattle kind of in the past and in the history, and moving into the new age of computer vision and machine learning and that. But we see this not only in the feed yard, we see opportunities in cattle pre-feeding, so out in outside cattle, grow yards, and even at the cow-calf in the future with these kind of technologies to help value those feeder animals and get them into classes that'll help them get them to a common days on feed group.
This is fascinating technology coming from a company that has a long history of bringing innovation to our industry. Thanks for coming to the show and sharing a little bit more about that.
It's my honor and privilege. Thank you for having me.
Now, for more information on the Pinpoint sort system, simply visit ElancoPinpoint.com.
Have you taken a hard look at the performance of your cow herd? More producers are turning to the proven genetics offered by Gelbvieh and Balancer females.
We like the Balancers just because they're really good mamas, they got good feet and good udders.
So the reason that we started using the Balancer genetics is to create the perfect hybrid female. To have that composite hybrid female that lasts a long time, has moderate mature status, and highly fertile.
Moderate framed Gelbvieh and Balancer females stay in your herd longer and offer outstanding performance.
Gelbvieh and Balancer females are really known for their fertility, for their longevity, and for the ability to raise heavy weaning calf year after year.
Make the smart, sustainable, and profitable choice with Gelbvieh and Balancer females. Find out more at gelbvieh.org. Do you have an upcoming production sale to advertise? Then contact the Cattlemen to Cattlemen marketing team or your breed association to learn more.
Over the years, many college students have joined their local chapter of Block and Bridle, a national organization that promotes animal agriculture and helps develop leadership skills. We had a chance to ask some members how Block and Bridle works and how it's impacted their lives.
Block and Bridle is a national organization, it has chapters all across the nation, and it's really big on advocacy for agriculture. We really look for students within these universities that enjoy agriculture, either want to learn or want to, again, advocate and educate. We're open to all majors and all people. And so it's very inclusive, and it's a great way to get involved in different aspects in your community and in the agriculture industry as a whole.
We're super proud of it. We get to advocate for agriculture. We get to support the producers that are feeding this world while also advocating for animal welfare within the animal industry. And I grew up on a beef cattle operation, so this is really near and dear to my heart.
It's an amazing way to get involved and meet like-minded people within the agriculture industry. Even if you're not an animal science major, ag communications, ag economics, we're all in the same industry. It benefits everybody. And it's just an amazing organization that has not only given me amazing opportunities, but also, given me me lifelong friends.
The 2023 Block and Bridle National Convention was held at the same time as the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in New Orleans. Groups from different colleges from across the U.S. came together to meet members from other universities, learn more about the livestock industry, and of course network with ag professionals.
So it's really cool to be able to do our national block and bridle stuff along with the cattle con things, kind of get even more experience and more knowledge to take back home with us and share to our areas and things like that.
I actually saw one of my buddies that goes to Mississippi State. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. Ran into him. I didn't even know he was in block and bridle. So it was definitely a great way to connect with him and meet other like-minded students from different colleges that are all interested in the same goal.
We've been attending several lectures through NCBA, networking with members across the country at NCBA, and then we'll be attending the trade show, kind of networking for internships, hopefully finding jobs, getting to meet super cool people, learn some stuff. We're pretty excited to be here.
Now, to learn more about the mission of Block and Bridle, or even how to start a chapter at your college, just visit blockandbridle.org. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week right here on RFD TV.